What everyday skill becomes suspicious if you're too good at it? Remembering things about people. I've lied about not knowing things to not seem like a creep. Dude, I do this all the time. I don't want to seem like a creep either, I just have a good memory. Remembering someone else's schedule. Walking with minimal sound. I creep up on people all the time. I don't mean to, but I make almost no sound when I walk. I'm the same way. I make my wife scream all the time by walking into a room without her noticing. It happens to other people outside of home too. I start talking to people and they jump out of their skin. There was a restaurant in a Hyatt hotel that had a casino. The waiter from that restaurant remembered our preference when we showed up with a friend 6 months later. You guys were either amazingly awesome restaurant patrons or a frickin' nightmare. I'm a former waitress bartender turned RN. The same happens with patients. Counting bills quickly. Learned when in Uzbekistan, a place where the highest denomination was 1,000 but a meal at a restaurant cost 20-30K. I bartended in NYC where closing time was after 4 a.m., so the quicker I counted out my register, the quicker I could go home. I can count a stack of bills quick. Remembering oddly specific details about someone's past. I tend to remember odd shit people say for years. It tends to freak people out. The worst reactions are when someone was just making up something for a story and have no memory of saying it in the first place. Being able to quickly convert between ounce and gram. I have a friend who could memorize numbers ESP plates of vehicles. He'd then be able to recall it after months in totally random conversations. Noticing cameras. A friend of mine does that. He can point out any camera in public spaces. Strep throat tests. Used to get strep a lot as a kid, so by the time I was tested for it as a 20-year-old I had the process down. They stick in the big popsicle stick to hold down your tongue and then they swab the back of your throat while you try not to gag. Well, I happened to be tested by a relatively new, young, attractive doctor this particular time, and when he complimented me on doing well on the test and not gagging, my response was, "Thanks, I've had practice." If not suspicious, it was at the very least mortifying after realizing the implication of what I said. Haha, as a nurse who has performed these, any adult that could do a throat swab with zero gag, cough, or flinch always made me wonder. Reminds me of 6th grade lunch when a guy proved to us that he had no gag reflex by repeatedly ramming a breadstick down his throat. His face started turning red and everything. The best part is that no one ever questioned his gag reflex in the first place, and I think he just wanted to show off, lol. I've forgotten my apartment key to the point that I can pick my own lock. People find that suspicious. So you would remember to take your lockpick kit with you, but not your keys? A lockpick kit works on a lot of doors, but their key will only open the one. Yeah, I think Aristotle said that. Being able to recognize pills. No, I'm not a drug dealer. I just work in a pharmacy and some of them are very recognizable. Pharmacists are just licensed drug dealers. Remembering things about them they forgot. I told my friend I was getting a job at a store we know. She told me, "I think I've been there before." Then I told she has and I repeated the conversation we had, word for word. I got some weird looks from her, lol. I'm good at stuff like that. My friend and I were talking about a hike and I mentioned that we have already done it. She said we hadn't yet. So I told her the approximate date, what we did before and after, what we talked about on it, etc. If you asked me what I had for dinner yesterday, I would struggle. Staying calm. I didn't think of this answer, but it's a really good one. I've heard the phrase, "How are you so calm about this?" on more than a few occasions. Getting kids to trust me within seconds of meeting me. Ped nurse. That seems like a useful skill to have, but there's no way I'm going to have. How to get kids to trust me within seconds of meeting me. In my Google search history. MS Excel. I found that by taking over reporting from others because it took them so much time. I'd automate it to pull from the database where the previous owner was spending 2 hours a day copy-paste hundreds of cells. A couple hours work once and I hit a button. Done. I'd used to release right away, even with a script to open, refresh, save, and email it. This caused people to not trust the numbers, so now I still pull in the data but hold off on releasing it for a bit, even a bit late on occasion. Edit. I did a lot of trial and error learning. I am mid-50s, so I have some time under my belt. If you have Outlook, there's a function to delay sending an email until a specified time. You can program it to send your email out anywhere from a minute to a year after you hit send. This is literally how the series Psych starts. The main character, Sean Spencer, is too good at being observant, and because he kept sending tips to the local police, they called him in for questioning because they thought he might be involved in all those crimes. So he has to pretend to be a psychic. Cleaning liquid spills. If Junior knocks over their glass or the cat gets too close and personal with the fish tank, most people just tend to throw a bathroom towel over it or get out the wet vac. Not super effective and tends to allow time for staining. Some salt, aerosolus carpet foam, and some paper towels will clean up anything like it was never there and in record speed, and all for the low price of making people uncomfortable as they imagine you as a mob cleaner. For extra points, using this method to clean blood out of carpets or off cheap porous tile equals people's faces are funny as fuck. Where was this blood cleaning advice when I needed it last month? Hydrogen peroxide is also very effective with getting still wet blood out of your clothes. Former Navy corpsman. It really is. Current female. I have a friend who just knows random stuff. Like he is damn near lawyer level of proficient with things like legal procedure, technical knowledge to include how to bypass code locks, is really smart on finance and how to take advantage of situations. All sorts of stuff. He's not a spy or criminal, he just loves to Google this stuff and will read for hours on end about it. But to those who don't know him, he's suspect. When my dad was alive, he was exactly like that El Mayo. Living Wikipedia. I miss those things about my own dad. He used to read so much, and would just bounce ideas around or explain things I never heard about. Shuffling cards. Yep. One time you show how you can deal from the bottom and suddenly you're out of the weekly poker game. Hiding things. I do this, only not deliberately. I can put something down then want it a minute later and not be able to find it. It's like a shitty superpower. Being unbothered by blood and guts. I'm a veterinarian. I've spent days up to my elbows in all manner of bodies and parts and fluids. I can watch surgery or necropsy videos over lunch. I did an eye surgery on Tuesday, and somebody had to catch the new kid. The big ones aren't allowed to get faint, it's very inconvenient. Related aside, when the nice young lady at the bank says, "Oh my God, there's blood on your shirt," assuring her that it isn't your own in fact offers no reassurance. I love animals so much, and when people ask why don't I just be a vet, it's like, I don't want to see their insides. When you instinctively go to private search on your phone. People that are able to drastically change their personality, or the way they talk and act when around different groups of people or someone else arrives. For me, it's a coping mechanism I developed from a childhood of abuse and neglect. You have to be a different person to avoid the triggers, and sometimes it just catches you as an adult. I will remember your car and every detail about it before I can remember your name. Fabricating stories. I had a workmate that used to do that all the time while I was on the International Space Station. Googling, oddly, people find it unsettling how quickly I can learn shit that untrained people aren't supposed to know. All I did was Google search till I found the info, and then gave it a try. Avoiding people. Everyone assumes I'm up to something because I spend so much time alone and out of sight. Looking left then right then left then right without turning your head. Being happy. Everyone always thinks I'm high. I mean I am high but am happy for other reasons too. Guessing passwords. I had video games addiction during young age. My parents changed the PW once a week because I kept guessing it. When they say a word in weird way, paying close attention to their facial expression, listening to their tapping sound, the state the keyboard is in are things that helped me. But the key is to know how the person thinks. Tying knots. Tearing boxes. I had a female coworker who knew how to tear huge boxes like it's nothing. Like in 2 seconds there is nothing left out of the box. Fire at time she did it, she got a lot of strange looks. Imagine she was your girlfriend and you were moving home. You go out to get some tape and come home to find all the boxes torn up, cardboard all over the house, and she's just sitting there looking guilty. dropping that piece of cardboard as if you're going to just forget that only 2 seconds prior it was dangling from her mouth. So you may be dating a Labrador. What everyday skill becomes suspicious if you're too good at it? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.